Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Welcome to another video where we're going to talk about some ADP movers for the 2022 fantasy football season. Whether you've been drafting on Underdog, on DraftKings, FFPC, or wherever, the Scott Fish Bowl just started. If you're drafting in that, good luck to you this season. But you need to know the recent trends of who's been moving up. We're going to do another video of who's been moving down recently. I'll give a sneak peek at the end of this video if you wanted to watch and wait around. We're going to talk about 5 players that have jumped over the last 45 days in terms of their ADP. Maybe they're still values, maybe they're still draftable, but maybe they've moved up to a place where they're just out of the range of value now, and now you're no longer paying for their floor, you're paying for their median or possibly close to their ceiling. So it's going to be interesting to see who those 5 are as we get through this video. So drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the notifications bell, and let's go.
He's a legend.
I'm just going to jump right into this video, and we're going to start with Saquon Barkley. We had been going after Saquon Barkley early in draft season. I start drafting my best ball teams around May, sometimes a little bit earlier if I'm going to do the pre-NFL draft, best ball drafts, the rookie sophomore drafts, or the ones that will lock before the Best Ball Mania 3 comes out, or next year the 4, or the puppies or any of that stuff. So everybody's playing on the same level playing field, right? And Saquon Barkley, we had been saying, if you were an early drafter, was extremely low. He was a big bargain. So were guys like Fournette. Travis Etienne is also in that group. But Saquon Barkley has moved up, was previously a mid-third round pick, 28, 29, ADP on Underdog and DraftKings. And since then has moved all the way up to 17. You're no longer getting him in the middle of that third round. You have to pay to get him at this point. He is a mid to late second round pick. As you can see, we're going to take a look over here at RotoViz, and this is his tracking, his ADP charting here. You can see on Underdog, he slid down to about 27.5, 28, and then over the course of June and now halfway through July, he's climbed all the way up to 17, and rightfully so, playing in a much better offense with Brian Daboll as the head coach. This is Daniel Jones's make or break season, but everything is going to lean on Saquon Barkley. Entirely involved in the passing game, or at least we expect him to be a 4 to 6 target a week sort of player out of the backfield with 15 to 17, maybe 18 carries per game, and all the inside the 5 work. He is exactly what you're looking for in a bell cow back, but you're getting him at a discount because of the last 2 seasons. That one was an injury with the ACL. Last season, he stepped on a guy's ankle after running a route. So extremely unlucky in terms of his injuries, but now 2 years removed, 2 seasons removed from that ACL tear. This is the season where he really can pay off. We were drafting players like Todd Gurley off of his last terrible year. This is like his second year of his career when he was going at the end of the second round, but had RB1 upside. Saquon Barkley also has that type of RB1 upside in a brand new offense, albeit you do have to believe that Daniel Jones can move the ball a little bit. Something that I do think that he can do in an offense that is more tailor-made for his skill set. Russell Gage is another player who has jumped tremendously, a little bit more so lately because of the uncertainty around Chris Godwin's injury, right? When is he going to return? They have not said, it's undisclosed. He may be ready for the beginning of the season by week 1, or he may have to be on the physically unable to perform list and miss the first 6 weeks. Enter Russell Gage. Even if Godwin was there and playing the outside with Mike Evans on the other side, also subtracting all of those targets that would be going to Rob Gronkowski, slot receivers have historically done very well in a Tom Brady-led offense. That's where Russell Gage was going to run the majority of his routes this season. And then if you subtract all of those vacated targets or include those vacated targets from Rob Gronkowski and the possibility of 6 weeks without Chris Godwin to boss targets on the outside as well, that just means an increased market share of targets for Russell Gage early in the season. So his ADP has climbed. When we first started going after him and targeting him in May, his ADP was around 103, 104. But as we go back over to RotoViz, you can see that it's climbed all the way from the beginning of May when it was like way off the charts around 125. We were buying up in here, and it has climbed all the way up to around 70. I believe it was 69.2 this morning when I was charting ADP. So an extremely nice increase of 33, 34 draft slots, almost a 3-round increase at this point. And Russ Gage is getting to the point where Now you're going to have to make a decision. Do you still want Russ Gage at that price, or do you have to fade him now because he is basically, as you can see, the drop in Chris Godwin from somewhere around the mid 40s, to mid 4th round pick, now down to almost 60 and 70, where essentially it's a toss up at this point. Do you want to bet that Chris Godwin's going to be healthy for week 1? Or are you going to say that he's going to miss 6 weeks? Because that's basically where it's sitting right now, is that decision. If you think Godwin's going to be back, and you can stomach the possibility that you may be without him for 6 weeks, then Godwin is coming in at a much better value at this point than he was a month and a half ago, as opposed to Russ Gage, whose price has really climbed. Joshua Palmer is somebody else who has climbed tremendously, the 3rd target in this Los Angeles Chargers offense. Now, they had scored a ton of touchdowns last year. A lot of them went to Austin Eckler out of the backfield. Almost an unsustainable amount went to Austin Eckler out of the backfield. And if they are going to score as many touchdowns as they did last year, and granted, they did score, that offense was ridiculously efficient, and it is ripe for a little bit of pullback, a little bit of regression. Doesn't mean that I think the Chargers is going to be a bad offense, but they may not be as efficient in scoring touchdowns every time they get into the red zone, kind of like they did last year. So Joshua Palmer, definitely a deep threat. He can get down the field a little bit, but he's going to thrive in the underneath parts of the field. He should play on the outside and on the inside with Kim and Keenan Allen kind of splitting. Keenan Allen doesn't play 100% of his snaps in the slot. Big Mike on the other side. But if you're telling me a team that runs 3 wide as much as the Chargers do, and you're going to be buying in on a player who's going to be on the field in 3 wide situations, all of a sudden Josh Palmer and his ADP currently climbing from 170, around 170, now to about 142, a massive increase of over 2 rounds, 2.5 rounds. And you look at where Mike Williams and Keenan Allen are being drafted. I'm sorry for the pull downs every time I glide over that. But Keenan Allen basically is going up in here on ADP, which is beginning of the 3rd round. He's got like an ADP around 24, 25. Mike Williams has come all the way up from about 60 to about back-to-back picks with Keenan Allen. But you're getting a ridiculous discount of like 115, 120 picks to get the 3rd guy. Now, you're not going to get the target market share from Joshua that you are going to get from Keenan Allen or Mike Williams. You're not going to get that 20 to 30% market share, but there's definitely value here, especially in best ball drafts, but that price has escalated a whole lot. Looking at our next player, Robbie Anderson. This is not shocking. I love the profile picture for Robbie Anderson. Not shocking that his ADP has climbed from 185 to 160. But it is tied to one Baker Mayfield, who just became the quarterback for the Carolina Panthers. Now, it's not mutually exclusive to say that I believe that the Carolina Panthers are going to be a better offense with Baker Mayfield leading the way, as opposed to Sam Darnold leading the way. But also, they're not going to be a good team, but that doesn't hurt us at all. We care about fantasy points, not wins and losses. So if they're trailing a little bit in more pass script situations, now they have a quarterback who can deliver the ball a little bit better than Sam Darnold, a little bit better than Teddy Two Gloves did a couple of seasons ago. And now Robbie Anderson has been the one that's seen a big spike. So if you invested in DJ Moore, if you were investing in CMC, and both of them stay healthy, assuming CMC stays healthy, obviously there's enough weapons to make this go around. And Robbie Anderson has seen his ADP skyrocket, but it's basically paired with people that were going after Baker Mayfield and then say, well, I can get as a QB2 or a QB3, I can go after Robbie Anderson late in drafts. Right now his ADP is 160, up from 185, and then they're pairing him really late in like the 17th, 18th rounds with Baker Mayfield if they already drafted somebody like DJ Moore. Go check out the video that I did, the robust running back video, where I chanced on just that thing. I drafted CMC early, I drafted DJ Moore, and you know what, I don't have good quarterbacks, so I'm going to go with a 3 quarterback build, and I'm going to take the chance here, take a flyer that there could be coming correlation with Baker Mayfield ending up in Carolina. That video is live on the channel, and it did work out in my favor. So my QB3 does have some good correlation, albeit not with Robbie Anderson, a high flyer on ADP right now. Our next player, Mark Ingram II. Now, this is because of the possibility, sort of like the Russell Gage, Chris Godwin thing, but different. Alvin Kamara is in league meetings right now and is possibly facing a suspension at the beginning of the season. How long that suspension is, we don't know. It could be 0 games. If it's 0 games, then Kamara has fallen from like the 11th or 12th pick. He's gone down to like the 30s now. He's a mid-3rd round pick. But Mark Ingram was somebody who was not being drafted. You could have nabbed him a month ago in the last round of drafts, the 20th round on DraftKings, the 18th round easily as your RB5, RB6 on Underdog Fantasy, but since then he has risen from 215 to about 170, a massive climb of 45 picks, and that is because of the Alvin Kamara situation. Taking a look at his ADP, you can see it's kind of tailed off here at the end, but it is just absolutely skyrocketed, stonks up on Mark Ingram all the way past 170. This will continue to rise the more that we don't have any certainty on Alvin Kamara, and I can add Alvin Kamara to this to show you just how much he's fallen. And it's not going to look really precipitous at this point until I erase Mark Ingram off of that chart. And all of a sudden you can see he's gone way off the charts and continues to go down. He's buoyed just a little bit, but he had buoyed in here at around 30, and now he's falling to around the end of the third round. At some point, there's going to be a buy point on Alvin Kamara. Right now, I think that there's enough bell cow running backs, more so than we've seen in the last few years. Like, things have kind of settled down where that running back dead zone isn't as dead as it's been in previous years. That's another video that I'm going to have to do in the coming week or two, so look out for that one. But that's a video that's certainly going to be something I have to bite into, because typically we don't want to draft running backs from rounds like the end of round 3 to the end of round 6, right? That's where wide receivers have outperformed running backs historically. But this year could be different, so we're going to take a look at that in a future video. Here's all the guys that have gone up and down recently. Russ Gage, Kadarius Toney over the last 45 days. These are guys that have ADPs in the top 111. Kadarius Toney up 21 picks. Travis Etienne, I mentioned him earlier, all the way up now, climbing into the end of the third round. Allen Lazard was around pick 100. He's climbed all the way up into the mid 80s, high 80s. And Trey Lance just keeps climbing. Those running QBs, especially the young ones, where like Kyler Murray was being drafted in the 7th round, we're seeing Trey Lance gonna climb into that 7th, maybe the 6th round in some drafts as well, as I've seen people out drafting him on ADP. And the fallers recently, Amari Cooper, Treylon Burks, who was not with the first team and may not be with the first team. Westbrook Incline might be the starter at the beginning of the season. Cordero Patterson, Michael Thomas, who knows if he's going to play or not, and Sky Moore falling all the way down to the 100 range. So thank you guys for watching. Look out for another video right there.
He's a legend.